What's up, homies? It's Ooch. We're going to talk about rallies, and it's a long subject, so I'm going to break it up into parts, probably be 3 or 4 parts. So this is the first part. We're going to talk about basic stuff, get some terminology down, and make sure people understand what we're doing with rallies and why we do it. Rallies can look complicated. There's a lot going on, and the interface isn't great, so it confuses people. And we're a large, active alliance, and we rally a lot. And a lot of us have been together, hundreds of rallies together, so we don't necessarily have to communicate that much. But the key to an effective rally is absolutely communication, right? So what tends to happen is people who are not as experienced see all of the mayhem going on setting the rally, and they get overwhelmed and they are afraid to join because they're afraid they may make a mistake or they don't want to ask a question. So this is kind of a primer to kind of ease some of that tension, and hopefully some of y'all will feel a little more encouragement to join more rallies. So first and foremost, as a member who will be asked to join a rally, you'll need to be prepared to ask questions if you're not sure. That's key. The rally leader's responsibility is to communicate effectively what he needs, but in order to catch our target either offline for a short period or not paying attention for a short period, the rallies have to move fast. So we communicate as little as we can in order to fill the rally as fast as possible to give us a better chance of trapping our target and hitting them and hopefully zeroing them and getting their comp. So let's talk about why we rally. When the game started, we were all small and we were running around killing each other. And we all learned pretty quickly that anyone that was around your power or higher was not a target you wanted to hit, right? Because you only had a certain amount of troops, and they certainly were going to have more if they had more power than you, or they were going to have better research. So we just, so we band together and we rally, right? We basically take troops from everyone that's available to rally, and we squish it into one big deployment, and hopefully all those deployments hit at the same time. It doesn't always happen that way, and I'll show you why in another segment, but the idea is usually for all the attacks to hit at the same time. So let's talk about numbers when we talk about rallies. So you can safely single hit someone in the 40 mil range to 50 if you know what they have. If you know what troops they have and you have time to set up a proper deployment, you can safely hit around 40 million. I'll hit quite a bit higher, but I know a lot of the people in the state, so if I know someone's 110 million but they're not set up very well, there's a pretty good chance that I might solo hit them. I don't recommend people do it because it's easy to make a mistake and lose your commander, but the rule of thumb is around 40 million. And why is it that number? Well, between 40 and 50 million, that player, that target is going to be sitting on 1 million troops, and this game is built on math. So simple numbers tell us if they have 1 million targets and we can only send a bit over 300,000, they've already got the advantage. Not to mention, they have hospitals. So our troops are going to die. Theirs are going to go to the hospital, right? So they have all the advantages right there. So we learn around 40 million, we want to rally. We want to rally because we want to spread that loss amongst many and the kills amongst many, but more importantly the loss, and we want to do more damage. So that's the rally. Squish all of our troops together into one big deployment, right? So we will sometimes rally a smaller guy, 25 million, for the sake of saving power, or he's a trap or a very good trap. or we know he's reinforced. There are reasons why we'll do a smaller player, or maybe we're just bored or we want to practice. So it does happen, but around 40 million and up, most of us will set a rally and we will take them down that way. So as the size of the target progresses, the complexity of the rally can also increase. So when you get up to 100 million or so, we're pretty common for us to rally a 100 million player without even thinking about it. That guy's probably got about 2 million troops or so, 2 to 3 million, and a rally pretty much puts you even with a 100 mil player. When you get up above 100 mil, you know, your rally's going to start taking losses. And at 100 mil, it all depends on how good their research is, how well they're set up, if you caught them in research gear, training gear, something like that, if they're a trap. So the difficulty and the risk goes up drastically from 100 million. And when you get up into the 200 million range, or maybe a bit under that, 175 million range, you need to expect to take losses on that first rally. Certainly when you're in the 200 million range, that target is going to hurt your first rally for sure. So sometimes it's a commitment and a process. And if it's a target that we want to take out bad enough and enough of us commit, we'll do it knowing that we're going to take a loss. But sometimes it's someone that we're really mad at because they tile hit or called someone's girlfriend a bad name, or could be any reason, or we just don't like their alliance. But around 200 million, it gets considerably more difficult. And we will rally a 250 million player. We've done it several times. But it's a commitment. We do expect to lose the first rally. So that being said, let's talk about the rally attack. So the rally attack is structured basically like you would a solo attack. And what we teach is a layered approach in the solo attack. The whole point of fighting with a layered approach is we want to minimize our losses. So a single target layered attack would consist of 10 to 15% artillery if the target has traps, 10 to 15% meat, typically T2 or T3, depending on what level player you're at, and then the rest single force attack. Usually we don't do balanced attacks usually. The reason for that is we want to attack either their strongest or their weakest set of troops first, and then subsequent attacks are focused towards everything else, right? So the rally generally is the same way. And what we like to do, there's some debate on whether meat is required in a rally. The truth is, you should have meat in most rallies that are not CP based. So the reason for that is the same as in a single attack. You want to minimize your losses. So a typical setup should be 10, 10, and 10. 10% artillery, 10% meat, the rest, whatever main force the rally leader's calling for. Quite often, maybe 20% of the time, they won't say anything about meat, and meat will be the responsibility of everyone to know it's there. Or they won't call for artillery because the target has no traps. Or they will call mixed because they have no idea what this guy has, and they will judge what to send the second rally based on what they get back in the report. So I know some of that's confusing, but the important thing is to just ask the question. If you don't know, feel free to ask. And the rally leader should be communicating effectively. So once you've rallied with the same guys, typically you'll see them ask for about the same setup, and that's because rally leaders tend to seek out targets that they can hit and devastate based on their gear set, because the best commander for any rally is the commander that is geared and skilled and researched opposite of the troops that the target has. So the commander that is used will vary. And for us, we like to check people out before we let them lead a lot of rallies, because we don't want to see people losing troops because the guy leading the rally his defense isn't high enough, or his attack isn't high enough, or his gear isn't straight. So we do like to check them out. But mistakes do happen. I've led a rally before and killed several 100,000 of my alliance mates' troops, and it's a really, really bad feeling. Another thing to remember when loading a rally, it's pretty common that you have a bunch of T4 players in the rally and you need one more person to fill it, and a T3 player will come in and put in a maximum deployment of T3. The rally leader won't know, or he'll assume that the T3 player knows he's going to lose all of his troops. Just like in a normal attack and defense, the lowest level troop dies first. So if you're the only guy putting in T3, you're going to absorb all the loss. And that leads me to a very big point. For us, we have very solid rally leaders, some of the best in the game. But if you can't fill the rally, they need to be aware and they need to cancel. And if you're getting cold feet because the rally's half full and there's 30 seconds left, you need to let him know, hey, are we going to cancel this or what are we doing? And it's a slogan we call, if the rally is shit, do not commit. So sometimes I'll sit and I'll watch a rally, someone that I haven't seen lead before, and he'll have a half full rally. I won't put my troops in because I don't think it's going to fill. I'll wait. If the rally is shit, do not commit. You will waste your troops. That's the basics of the how and the why, and I'll end it right here, and then I'll pick it up again the next segment, and we'll start talking about the interface and starting rallies, and then I'll do another one that talks about joining rallies. Thanks a lot, guys. You got questions, hit me up. Just hang out for the next one.